serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 95 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of January 14th through the 20th, 2019. My name is Tim Beeman.
And my name is Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe box. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town at the Lab at Industry Hill. It is a repurposed building on North Chestnut Street in the old warehouse district in downtown Winston-Salem, what we now call Industry Hill. Our building houses a custom furniture company, a cool upholsterer that creates things you've seen all over town, a manufacturer of fine cloth and denim totes, purses, and bags, and a musical creation station. And Industry Hill itself hosts a lot of cool things like restaurants, chocolatiers, breweries, entertainment complexes, a high-end stereo shop, and more. Find out more by visiting industryhill.com or checking them out on Facebook and Instagram.
Tried to put you on the map with... I did a Google Map search for the lab at Industry Hill. It does not know you exist yet. We're working on that.
We're working. We have a sign on the window. We have our Industry Hill
nice.
thing. I'm going to put that on my car. So
it's a thing.
Yeah, we're going to start getting more popular, I think, because
now, aren't they going to paint the water tower as well? Put Industry Hill on that?
I don't know.
I think I saw that recently, that was one of the changes that's coming for this area.
I'm sure they'll meet with some resistance on that because there are people who don't want to call this Industry Hill. The people who own most of the buildings in this area, you would think, would get to dictate what this area is called.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, even if it's informal.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but I read something, I think it was last week, that Airtype Studio had done some logo designs for Industry Hill, and they were going to be using
this is Airtypes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can't tell it.
Yes, that's it, because it looks like the I-beams.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying. They were playing off of that.
If you do it that way or that way,
it's still the same.
If like the listeners can see what that way and this way is.
Yeah.
Whether you do it horizontal or vertical, it's still IH.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a cool logo.
It is. It took me a long time to figure out what that meant, but I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
So the people who listen to this podcast are going to be on the cutting edge of what's happening in Winston-Salem. They will know before everybody else.
That's right. Industry Hill, yo. All right, so this is kind of old news, but we've not talked about it on the show at least. Bibbs is now serving breakfast.
Woohoo!
They said they've been kicking around the idea of breakfast really almost since they've opened, says Mark Little, who is the chef and co-owner of Bibbs. They were thinking of new things they could do. The menu already was pretty packed, so they couldn't do a lot of... So instead of adding new menu items, why not add just a whole new menu?
I like the idea. I love Bibbs anyway, so being able to go there for breakfast, that's pretty cool.
This is somewhat limited, and it's done so on purpose. They didn't really want to have a full breakfast. They wanted to... This is according to the Relish, or the Journal thing by Michael Hastings. It says that they wanted to mainly have things that people could pick up on their way to work. I don't they can eat in the dining room, but that's fine. But I think the point was to get something people can just stop, get, and go.
So a lot of biscuits.
Yeah. So sandwiches are sold on a choice of a biscuit or a bun with lettuce, tomato, and mayo. Sandwiches are available singly. Is that a word? Singly for $3.99 to $4.99, or on a plate with the choice of tater tots or grits for $5.99 to $6.99. A fried egg or singly. A fried egg or cheese can be added to any sandwich for an additional charge.
Oh, yeah.
Pork loin is available two ways: smoked or tenderized, fried or breaded and fried. Mm-hmm. So,
when we ate dinner there one day last week, and they mentioned that the pork loin biscuit was probably the most popular breakfast item.
Bologna, as I call it, is smoked in-house in a large chunk, then sliced thick like a steak for a sandwich. Other sandwiches include smoked sausage, baked ham, BLT, bacon, egg, and cheese, and such. Homemade buttermilk biscuits are served with a generous portion of creamy gravy made with Mark Little's own breakfast sausage. Is $3.99 for 2 biscuits and gravy. It's not a bad price at all.
That's a great price for
The
that.
sausage has a peppery bite that I like, he said. He makes French toast. It's $3.99 for 2 slices with the same bread he uses for his Texas toast at lunch and dinner. It's regular French toast, but I put a couple of extra flavors in there, and that's kind of his secret, he says.
Nice.
Grits and tots are available with the French toast and biscuits too, as are sides of bacon or sausage. People can order a la carte fried or scrambled eggs, plain biscuits, and other side orders if of any of the meats. Breakfast officially began on December 17th, but with the holiday and all the rainy weather and cold weather, so it's just been a soft opening, he says, but have a few people who come in 3 days in a row. So
Nice.
yeah. So
It does give us a new option downtown for a quick, easy breakfast. Sounds like they've really streamlined that menu to keep time weight down.
yeah, he said it's a southern breakfast, but he put the bib spin on it. So.
Yeah.
So what constitutes a southern breakfast? Is that the biscuits and gravy? And
Biscuits and gravy, yeah, fried meats. I mean, that kind of stuff. That's southern, southern
Yeah, I
breakfast.
was in Boston. I don't remember anything different for their breakfast. They had the eggs and the biscuits. They didn't have gravy so much.
Gravy. And now, did they have biscuits or toast?
I thought they had biscuits.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I've never been there.
And I don't remember now. I should have paid more attention to that, being a food.
But yeah, good sausage gravy over biscuits. I mean, that's a southern breakfast if there ever was one.
Yeah.
And some grits on the side. Yeah.
What's a grit?
Whale.
I would not, for the longest time, I would not eat grits. I refused to eat something that sounded like it was between my toes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also, I don't eat mushrooms because I don't like fungus either. So, yeah.
Well, I'll take your mushrooms then.
Okay.
I like them.
Now, what happened with the grits was Stephanie loves grits, but she was raised by a Midwesterner and a Northerner, so they didn't have access to that when she was growing up. She had to try it when she went off to college. And she loves them. And I just said, I was a cream of wheat kind of guy, which is same concept, just not the same thing.
Right.
And
Different flavor.
different flavor. This corn is grits, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, I just said I'll do without, and she was eating them here, eating them there. She was eating them with cheese on them and this other stuff. And one day she made some instant grits at home just because she said I just needed to do it. And I went by and I took a bite. And she
Surprised
goes,
yourself.
well, she says, you should not have done that. I said, why? She goes, because these aren't good. It's just whatever I had available. And I'm like, well, you're right. They're not good. But it's not awful. So I would be open to trying them. So when we went to I think it was Jeffrey Adams the first time, I said, you know what? I want to order a side of grits with cheese because they had, the Gouda on there. And
That really kicks it up a notch.
yeah, and now I love them. I eat, cheese grits. I like shrimp and grits. I like grits.
It wasn't until I had shrimp and grits that I actually ate them to a point that I liked them.
Yeah,
I'd had grits, but I wasn't that fond of them.
yeah. The idea of shrimp and grits was not appealing to me. I love shrimp, but grits, And then I had it after I'd had other grits, and I'm like, yeah,
It's good
This
stuff.
is good stuff. This is great stuff. So,
Use the right ingredients. It's much better.
Indeed. All right, so another big thing that happened over the last little bit, City's Grill and Bar has closed for good.
That's sad.
I have two things to say about that. One is, you're right, it's sad because I hate seeing things close. But the other thing is, meh.
So you're saying it was a giant impact on where you go?
Yeah, I have eaten there maybe 3 times, and the last time was over 10 years ago. It never meant anything to me. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like, it's dead to me. Well, it's dead to everybody now. But it just did nothing for me. It was really expensive.
It was expensive
for food that I could get other places. Now, granted, when they first opened in 2000, there wasn't a lot of other things like that around, unless you went to the Applebee's or the Chili's or things like that.
There weren't that many higher end, locally owned restaurants.
There weren't, unless you went to, was it Staley's? Was it the
Staley's? At that same time, Bernardin's was in town.
Yeah, they were over on Jonestown Road. Yeah. And they weren't as high end, I don't think, at Jonestown Road as they were when they moved to Zevely House.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but it's fine. I'm not saying Cities was bad. It never made any kind of impression on me. It was not something that I really endeavored to move toward. It wasn't. The only times I ever ate there was because someone else suggested it. I went the first time on my own. Overpriced, not a whole lot of. It was just meh to me the whole time.
Oddly enough, that was my experience as well. I never went there. I mean, and I lived at one point. I lived just not even a mile up the street. I didn't go there unless somebody else had suggested it.
Yeah.
Nothing about it made me feel like this is my scene. This is the kind of place where I'm going to be comfortable hanging out on a regular basis.
Right. Well, they had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2016. It faced foreclosure, but it was released from bankruptcy protection in late 2016 after its attorney told the bankruptcy court that the owners could get a new loan. Okay, so the 2016 bankruptcy proceedings happened. The owners were listed as Vice President Sammy Ballas, his father, and President Johnny Ballas, and investors Gus Straits and Gus Satsouronis. I don't know how to say that. All these are Greek people. So if I'm butchering their names, I'm sorry. Sammy Ballas, I am familiar with. He also owns the East Coast Wings.
Yes.
The entire franchise. He and Steve Contos, his brother-in-law.
Do they not own some other restaurants in town, or at least partners on other restaurants?
They may, but I know that Steve, who again is partners with Sammy for the East Coast thing, his dad used to own what it was, the seafood restaurant there where the Real Q is, that was down there, where now the Humane Society is there now. Yacht House or something like that.
Yes, Yacht House.
Yeah, I believe that was the same family.
Okay. Well, and obviously their East Coast Wings franchise has exploded. They're a huge success story for this area.
Yeah. To my chagrin. Not because I missed them ill will, because I love East Coast Wings.
Yeah.
But because I passed on buying it.
Oh.
I passed on buying the whole thing.
You could have had.
I could have had this. Now, would it have gotten to this? Probably not.
Well, they do bring some skill to the table.
That's true.
Clearly.
Yeah. There's a whole big story about how that all went down that I will not share on this podcast, but none of it was clandestine. It was just fate, I think.
Yeah.
The way it should have been.
And I really like East Coast. I'm pleased to see it. And maybe it's East Coast's how do you say that? Their success may have been contributing factor to the downfall of cities. They weren't putting that kind of energy into cities.
Could have been.
So, hate to see that one closed down.
So there have been no new bankruptcy filings as of last week. And so I don't know why all the big news has to wait until after Monday to come out, because here we are. We could have talked about this last week.
Yes.
But this happened on the 9th, which was last Wednesday. This is when this article happened. Last Tuesday, the 8th, all the signs were already gone. So it was gone, which means to me that the building owners, if they weren't the same folk, which they may have been, already have something planned for this, or they just wanted to erase the blight that it was. I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm just saying that we don't know the reasons why this happened. There could have been several. I'm only speculating, and it's not to be taken literally because I don't know.
Well, it used to be much further out on Stratford Road. Now that area has developed so much, I mean, there's all those townhomes and condos that are back there that didn't used to exist.
Yeah, because they built it there whenever the golf course was still
yes.
there. Which I played that golf course. It was a decent golf course. And then all of a sudden it's gone and lots of houses. Lots of condos.
But even Foothills has moved out that direction now.
Yeah.
So
well,
clearly,
there's that Sheets. There's because that Food Lion wasn't always there, the Sheets. It can't figure out what it wants to be. It was Brugger's Bagels for a while and other things. That building is it's one of those, like the spot next to Poff's Glass on Stratford, that's just destined to be a rotating place. It's like if you want to start I love the German place. I wish it would have stuck around, but if you want to start a restaurant and see how it'll fail, open it right there.
So good luck, Steak and Shake.
Yeah, yes. Steak and Shake might do okay because of its chain status. However, it's hard to get in and out of there during any time from 11 o'clock in the morning, which when they would be open, till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then again at 4 o'clock until 6:30. So, prime eating time, you are screwed. O'Brien's Deli.
Yes.
Over on Country Club Road.
They're in the Gordon Manor area.
Had been closed. It suffered damage from flooding on December the 1st. And reopened last Monday, the 7th.
They are open again.
Yes. Co-owner Josh Liebman said that the flooding damage was significant, but that it offered the opportunity to make some needed improvements. So it turned out to be
They did need a couple of upgrades there.
Yeah, it was looking tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Renovations in the last month included new tables and chairs, a new color scheme, and updated bathrooms.
Nice.
And their winter hours are from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The delivery deadline is 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 4 p.m. on Saturday.
Do you know if they made any changes to the menu as well?
I'm not seeing anything about the menu, but
there were some rumors that they may be adjusting the menu a little bit.
Well, I think what may have happened here was, as we said, it was tired in there. I have not been there, but I've seen pictures, and it looked tired.
I've been there.
Yeah,
it was tired.
So I think they were going to have to do some stuff anyway, and then the flood happened. I don't know why it was flooded. I don't know if it was a roof leak or the area. There was a boundary leak. If there was something busted, I don't know. But I think they were going to have to do it anyway, and this happened.
Good excuse.
Insurance!
Thank you. We've been thinking anyway.
It's an act of God. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, good. I mean, the picture that they're showing is a picture of their Reuben, which is probably their best-known sandwich, and that's a damn good sandwich.
They have good sandwiches. I've enjoyed eating there. Hated to see them leave downtown.
Yeah, that was just mismanagement. That was...
Well, but we got a great Indian place downtown now, so that was a perk for the community.
Oh.
I hate for them.
Yeah.
We still have to go try that place.
Yes, we do. We have not been there, and we need to go try Campus Gas because I was hoping to have them in here today, but they were unable to get back with me about scheduling, so
Look at another day then.
I'm going to see, because they know it's Monday at 3, and they still haven't answered me. So, we're working on it. We're going to get a couple guests in here.
They've really done a great job renovating that place. We drove by there the other day, and tons of people just lined out there. They've got these huge tables sitting out. They were full of people. They were playing cornhole, standing around, talking. I mean, it looked like folks were really having a good time.
That's good. I mean, it is catering to the campus.
Folks at Wake Forest have a great watering hole right out their back door.
By their own, because the owners are Wake
Alumni.
graduates.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is...
In truth, the spot was blighted. I mean, it was just an old rundown gas station. There was really not much happening there.
Did they even sell gas, or was
I
it
don't
just a
think
place
they
where
did.
they could just change tires and
I think that's
oil
all
change?
it was. So yeah, this is a much needed improvement for that block.
Yeah. So we hope to have Campus Gas on here soon.
I look forward to that.
Cam's Coffee
Yes.
is now open at 101 North Chestnut Street.
I was excited to see that.
Cam's, they hire and employ special needs folk
Yes.
because Will Lewis's son Cameron had a brain injury, and he loves coffee. And to keep him engaged, they started to do pop-up coffee shops. And he liked it and wanted. He has a goal to be bigger than Starbucks. So
Set your sights
well,
to a reasonable level.
I mean,
Bigger than
chances are it's already tastes better than Starbucks. So
Yeah.
but they are now open for business there at 101 North Chestnut Street. So we highly recommend that you go up there and grab your cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
I know they've been working on the space for a little bit. I know Cam's dad, William Lewis, because I produce a podcast for him.
Nice.
So that's good.
So that's how you got the backstory.
That's how I know how it was going. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, really, to be able to say to folks, you have value. You can earn a living. Regardless,
Yeah.
we have a place where you can be a contributing member of your community. I love what they're doing with this.
And not to take anything away from Cam's Coffee, because we're talking about that, but you know, there's a national company that does that. Publix hires not necessarily special needs, but challenged
Right.
folk. They employ them to bag groceries, to help stock. Some of them even run registers. So they hire everybody, but they especially try to hire the people in need.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I know the local Goodwill also does a lot of training for folks with disabilities, if we can still say that.
Well, they are disabilities.
Yeah.
Whether that's PC or not, I mean, it is what it is. So,
But they've been able to even get projects and bring these jobs into Goodwill so that they have these folks available and so they can give them, productive work. We all deserve that opportunity to feel like we've contributed.
yes. Well, good luck to Cam's Coffee. Again,
Absolutely.
that's 101 North Chestnut Street. That's just south of the government building
Yes.
in the Albert Hall.
Yes.
It's either Albert or Victoria. They're next to each other. So whichever the one is that's further south, I believe that's Albert.
Albert's the furthest south.
Yeah, so that is where they're located. So, all right, food holidays. You want to hear what kind of ridiculous holidays we have this week?
Yes, I do.
It's become, pretty fun just to make fun of this stuff. How about today, which is National Hot Pastrami Sandwich Day?
Oh,
Speaking of O'Brien's Deli, run over there today and get your hot pastrami
and tell
sandwich.
them today is Hot Pastrami Day, and I think I should get this on special.
Says Ray with the Man Who Waits Time.
Yes, and they're going to say, what?
And who? Where?
We will allow you to pay full price just today.
Yeah. Yes. Tomorrow you will pay full price plus full price and tax. So in 1861, on the 14th, David Wesson was born. Wesson was an American chemist, and in 1900, he developed a method to make sure pure cottonseed oil was palatable and formed the Southern Oil Company. Wesson oil was the first vegetable oil used in the United States. Cottonseed oil is noted for its lack of taste, which allows flavors of food to come through. It is used in margarine, salad dressings, and commercially fried foods.
Where would we be without fried foods? Where would we be without Mr. Wesson?
We'd be sad.
Yep.
In 1984, Ray Kroc died in San Diego. He sold blenders for milkshakes, and one of his customers was a restaurant in San Bernardino, California, owned by Maurice and Richard McDonald.
Yep.
Kroc set up a chain of drive-in restaurants based on their efficient assembly line production kitchen and went on to own McDonald's.
Yeah.
On the 15th, it's National Strawberry Ice Cream Day.
It just always cracks me up how specific some of these are.
Yes. Notice it wasn't National Pastrami Sandwich Day. It was Hot Pastrami.
Hot pastrami. As opposed to a cold cut sub. No. That's a different
Delicious cold cut combo. So, the 15th, in 1895, Lever Brothers registered the Lifebuoy trademark for their soap that made famous by Christmas Story and getting his mouth washed out with it.
Yep.
In 1919, on the 15th, the Great Molasses Flood happened. On January 15th in 1919, a large 50-foot high storage tank in Boston burst and sent a tidal wave of over 2 million gallons of molasses traveling at over 30 miles per hour, which I find hard to believe that it was going 30 miles per hour.
If it was middle of summer, maybe.
Yeah.
If it were
January. This is January.
Yeah.
Houses, buildings, and parts of the elevated rail system were crushed in its path. 21 people died and over 150 were injured. It took over 6 months to clean up the mess. The damage was in the millions of dollars.
Wow. To think, death by drowning
From
molasses.
Could have been a slow death. Patunch.
It's not funny. It's hilarious. Yeah.
On the 15th in 1967, the first Super Bowl was played.
67 was the first.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Green Bay, it wasn't officially called that yet, but I'll explain. The Green Bay Packers of the National Football League beat the Kansas City Chiefs of the American Football League 35-10. It was called the AFL-NFL World Championship game, and it was not renamed Super Bowl until Super Bowl III, in which the Colts lost to the Jets. That was the one where Joe Namath predicted that they would win, and everybody thought that was ridiculous, and they won.
Yeah.
On the 15th of 1986, Pop Secret microwave popcorn was introduced by General Mills. I thought it was older than that.
86?
86.
I would have, yeah, I'm with you. I would have thought that had been 1920.
Yeah. In 1990, Campbell's Soup produces its 20 billionth can of tomato soup.
And Ray Kroc made that many burgers.
Yes. Yes. Over, 99 billion served or whatever. On the 16th, it's National Fig Newton Day. It's also International Hot and Spicy Food Day.
We need a day for that.
Yes. That's what I was thinking. That was a perfect day for it, too. The 16th, International Hot and Spicy Food Day. You know,
It's cold on this half.
get back, devil. Here we go.
Lower half of the globe's experiencing warm temperatures.
All right. On the 16th, in 1868, William Davis, a Detroit, Michigan fish dealer, received a patent for a refrigerator car called an icebox on wheels. He also designed the first refrigerated railway car.
Change how we got food delivered.
This is exactly true. On that same date, the 16th, in 1894, Charles H. Phillips Chemical Company registered Milk of Magnesia trademark.
Been around a long time.
Yeah.
Mom.
Ain't that some shit? In 1920, on the 16th, Prohibition begins in the U.S., which banned the sale of all alcoholic beverages.
It
It
was an abysmal failure.
was gangsters flourished, though, importing and producing bootleg alcohol, and Americans drank more than ever. Prohibition was officially and finally repealed in 1933, what they called the end of the noble experiment.
13 years.
Yes.
And how long have we not altered our other drug laws?
Way longer.
About time.
In 1945, on the 16th, Carl and Margaret Karcher opened Carl's Drive-In Barbecue Restaurant in Anaheim, California. The first Carl's Jr. restaurant opened in 1956, and now that's the parent company of Hardee's.
Yep.
That's why they share the same logo and basically the same menu.
It is weird when they put them both up.
Uh-huh.
Just one or the other. Pick one.
And now they also own Red Burrito, too, and they
Yeah.
put that with the Hardee's thing. I've not had fast food now in over 5 years, but I remember Red Burrito was not that good.
I don't know that I've ever eaten Red Burrito. Now, I can say that it's been at least 5 hours since I've had
Well,
fast food.
that's a streak.
There you go. Short one.
All right, so the 17th, 4 hours, she says. The 17th is National Hot Buttered Rum Day.
Oh, I'm behind that one.
Yeah, I've never had hot buttered rum before.
Oh, yeah. Goes down smooth.
I like it that way. On the 22nd, on the 17th, 1922, I mean, not on the 22nd, Betty Marion White was born.
Oh, Betty White.
Betty White.
We love Betty.
So she will be, how old? 19? That is 96?
Getting up there. No. Yeah, you're right.
So 22 from 19, that's 3,
So,
97. Yeah,
We did that math like we actually could do math.
yeah. She did math.
With help.
We did no math.
What did she say? She said it was 97. Well, then it must be 97.
Well, mine was a guess, so hers was closer to mine. All right, the 18th, I don't have any really history, but it is National Peking Duck Day.
Oh, again, so specific. Have you ever had Peking duck?
I have not.
I have not either. I don't know why it's so special. It's duck, so I guess that's part of it.
Yeah. You would think that this holiday would be on the 15th because of the Pop Secret, but on the 19th, it's National Popcorn Day. It's also National Tin Can Day.
Okay.
Because in 1825, Ezra Daggett and Thomas Kensett of New York City were granted the first U.S. patent for food storage in tin cans.
And again, it changed the world.
They had been canning seafood since developing the process in 1819. So that's 200 years.
200 years old.
Wow.
That's amazing. I would have
It
thought.
is.
Yeah, I would have guessed that would have been sooner than then.
On the 20th, other than being on every 4 years being Inauguration Day, it's also Paul Stanley's birthday from Kiss. I'll always talk about that.
Yeah,
It's also National Cheese Lovers Day, and I am a cheese lover, so it's my day. It's also National Coffee Break Day, National Butter Crunch Candy Day.
So, have some cheese and butter crunch with your cup of coffee.
Heck yeah.
Celebrate all of it at one time, even though cheese and coffee does not really sound appealing.
I don't know, I can do without the coffee part, but cheese goes well with everything. Anytime, anywhere.
I agreed. Cheese is awesome.
In 1964, the world's largest cheese was made, a 34,000-pound cheddar. It was created by the Wisconsin Cheese Foundation for the 1964-65 New York's World Fair. It took 170,000 quarts of milk from 16,000 cows.
Wow.
It was eaten at the 1965 annual meeting of the Wisconsin Dairymen and Cheesemakers Association.
And then everybody took home a ton of cheese. And that's 14 tons of cheese.
This is true.
It's a lot of cheese.
That's actually 17 tons of cheese.
Excuse me, you're right. 17.
Wow.
You know, 17 tons. Never mind.
In 2018, just last year on the 20th, Paul Bocuse died in his sleep in the same room in which he was born, in Cologne-au-Mont-d'Or in France, on February 11th, 1926. Legendary French chef known as one of the founders of Nouvelle Cuisine. He was named Chef of the Century by the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. His restaurant has maintained 3 Michelin stars for more than 50 years.
That's an accomplishment.
Yes, so that's
Chef of the Century.
Chef of the Century.
So he was, I guess, important.
He had friends. He was
good at that politicking thing.
He was a swell guy. Heck of a guy. Was it was it Tommy Boy when he's just going on this right here? Yes. Heck of a guy. David Spade's character wasn't even listening. He was just running off the mouth. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Coneheads. David Spade,
Coneheads.
but it was in Coneheads. Yes, I knew it was one of those. Well, that's your food holidays and history for the week. Special thanks to James Ealer at foodreference.com for compiling the holidays in history. You want to talk about the Big Eat at all?
You know, I'd love to at least give him a mention.
Okay.
The Big Eat, it happens in January through mid-February in Winston. It's during February in Greensboro. It's only on Tuesday nights, and there's a limited number of restaurants that are participating, but they're offering signature menu items for half price.
Yeah.
So if it's a restaurant that you haven't tried yet, it's a great time to take advantage of this. There's no coupon that you've got to download. There's no app you have to have. You can just go to these places. Now, I will say, Piedmont Local and Our Local Media has an app. It's the Our Local app, and all the details of the Big Eat are on there, but you can also go to the Big Eat online and get the details of which restaurants. We were talking about Bibbs earlier. That was the reason we went to Bibbs last Tuesday night. It was $4.25 for the quarter-pound plate with a couple of sides. You can't beat that price. I mean, normally it's twice that. So I think Hutch & Harris was on there, Bernardin's, the old filling station, Cowboys Restaurant, Sixth and Vine. I mean, I'm just trying to come up with the ones that are coming off the top of my
These are
head.
the ones that are changing things. I mean, the list is longer than that. But
It was much longer than that.
Sixth and Vine for tomorrow, let's say, the 15th, is a mocha spice sirloin.
Doesn't that sound good?
For $11.
$11 for
Half
a
price,
sirloin.
yeah, $22 normally.
Yeah.
Tomorrow for Bernardin's, it is fettuccine al gorgonzola.
Yeah, doesn't that sound good?
Because you know I love gorgonzola, I love blue cheese.
Now, here's the thing. Next week, those restaurants will have a different item.
Right, next
that'll be
week
special.
for Bernardin's, it's sauteed brie stuffed chicken breast.
Oh, man.
Sixth and Vine next week is grilled chicken pesto pasta for $7.50.
Where are you going to get the quality that Sixth and Vine is going to serve for $7.50? You're just not.
Senior Bravo is doing steak or chicken fajita plate for $7.
That's a bargain.
Yep.
It's cheap. So part of the reason, obviously, is that the winter months tend to drive traffic, but just doesn't happen on a Tuesday night during the winter. We like to stay in because it's cold. But I want to put this out as a kind of my little soapbox and personal plug for the businesses that are downtown, not just our restaurants. Please don't stop patronizing them because the interstate's torn up and traffic means it's going to take you an extra 10 to 15 minutes to get there. These businesses need our patronage. When things are beautiful and flowing and everything's perfect, even more so when people are staying away because they're saying, I don't want to deal with the traffic.
It's worth the traffic. I hate traffic as much as the next person, but I still go to the places that are hard to get to. You know what? My favorite restaurant, I'm going to say it, is Willow's, but it's hard to get to right now.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible to get to.
It's not impossible. And it's, if you're coming off of the south side of town, coming straight up Main Street, not that hard to get to them.
Nope.
You know, even if, we live on the north side of town, we just come straight down through the middle of town.
You go to Marshall all the way down to, for right now, until they close that bridge, because they're going to open Liberty and Main once they get those done. But right now, just come straight. If you're on the north side of town, come straight down University. University turns into Marshall. Marshall comes down, turn on Brookstown. Brookstown, where the Palladium is, you're there.
So, yeah, these restaurants, truth of the matter is, where I've seen the worst part of the traffic has been more over on actual 40, not business 40's side.
Yeah.
Since this has happened, getting around downtown is not that bad right now. So please patronize these businesses. Give them your business because they're doing some great things in this community and we need to be a part of it.
And also for the Big Eat, we highly recommend that you get reservations.
Yes.
And this is dine-in only. You can't get these to go.
Correct.
And you also have to know that it's while supplies last. When they are out, they're out. Don't complain. You don't get any rain checks. You don't get any sorries. You might get a sorry, but you don't get any consolation for it other than
come back next week.
Come back next week and see what we have.
You know, we didn't make a reservation to go to Bibbs, and we got there and thought, gosh, we should have. We got in and sat down pretty quick, but right behind us there was a flood of people that came in. It was great to see. You know, because obviously on a random Tuesday night in January, you wouldn't expect to see as many people that were there. But it was such a good deal on dinner that it's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, I can't make a barbecue dinner that we had for that price. I mean, we took our daughter with us, and it was $13, $14 with tax. Now, I will say this is, again, a small soapbox of mine. Remember what this would have been at full price, and when you're tipping, base it off of the full price.
Yes.
Don't short your wait staff.
It's not their fault that this is discounted.
Yeah.
It's basically your fault because people don't go enough on Tuesdays. So this is because Tuesdays is the lowest profitable night for restaurants in this town.
Yeah. And, you know, hats off to Steve Schumai for organizing this and getting this all together. I understand this is several years that he's been doing this now, and absolutely, it's a good thing for our community.
Well, it used to be Restaurant Week with Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership, and they did that to drum up business downtown, bring people aware downtown. I think there's enough awareness now.
Yeah.
And the partnership decided they didn't want to do that anymore. So that's when Steve stepped in and took over. It's not restaurants now, it's the Big Eat. And I will say not as many restaurants participate now as they used to when it was Restaurant Week.
Right.
But I think I'm not saying they were under pressure from the partnership because that's not how the partnership works. But I think they felt like, well, this is the downtown thing. We need to push this.
Right.
And now that it's a private thing, I feel that the restaurants, well, you dealt with that. You know, we don't want to give stuff for half price.
Right. A lot of them don't want to do any discounting whatsoever. And this is one of the things that they like is that there's a limited time frame and they get to pick the dish.
Yeah.
So I don't see a downside for the restaurant. So, anyway, from a community's perspective, from the end consumer that's thinking, ooh, we could go over to 6th and Vine and have us a great meal for both of us and be well under $20. Oh, we could go to Hutch and Harris or Cowboys and get, places that we haven't been, that we haven't tried. Here's a perfect excuse to get out of the house.
It's a perfect excuse to have an introduction to these places.
Yeah.
So this is the time to check them out, is on the Big Eat Nights. The Man Who Hates the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to Less Desirables, The Beer Dads, Fan Interference, and Apartment 5B. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. We greatly appreciate if you visit our sponsors, Delicio's Italian Restaurant. I was in there last Wednesday, and the place is looking great. They have their new bar, all that stuff set up. It's just fantastic. Maria and Tony just have I'm not saying they're rolling in, but they have a gold mine as far as a restaurant goes. The people know that this is the best Italian in town, and they do not shy away from that. So that's good, because it's my favorite Italian from my favorite Italians. So go down there, 301 Brookstown Avenue. They have great beer and wine list. They're open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook. Washington Perk and Provision Company, located 301 West 4th Street. While you're getting your Wolfie's custard, your eggs, your milk, go back and have a sandwich made. Grab you some Larry's Beans coffee. They have condiments, bread, beer and wine wall. The deli, like I said, that makes great sandwiches, affordable goodies every day. Perk has all that. Washington Perk, better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. Again, 301 West 4th Street. On Facebook, they are Washington Perk, and then on Instagram, they are Washington Perk _DTWS. The Humblebee Shop is located at 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown for cookies, cakes, pies, and other dessert goodies made just for you. If you need vegan or gluten-free, she does that too. Everything is carefully crafted and made 100% from scratch. The Humblebee Shop wants to challenge your perception of scratch made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, or visit thehumblebeeshop.co, and that's SHOPPE.co. Keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about food news and happenings around town. If you have or are that food news, send us an email, tim@themanwhoatethetown.com, or on the Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter instant messages. We check all those. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who Number 8 the Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. My name's Tim.
My name's Ray.
And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the Man Who Ate the Town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.